Well, firstly, Christian, welcome. Thank you. I'm Ben Edwards. I'm a trainee here at the firm. It's actually an honour to have you with us today to give us a quick talk downstairs on diversity and inclusion as part of our diversity and inclusion committee in the firm. But now it'll be great to sort of tap in and have a conversation with you regarding the upcoming International Men's Day and the focus then on men's mental health. So, as we know, International Men's Day is a day to raise awareness of mental and physical health in men and celebrate also the positive contributions that men do in society. It can often be seen as a taboo subject, can't it? With a lot of stigma around talking in men, being able to talk. But I think the day is really promoting men and encouraging them to talk about their feelings. So, Christian, like I said, thank you for joining us today. It's really valuable to have someone like you with us today to discuss this. So, Christian, 328 professional football appearances. I think that's correct, I know. Bursting on the scene as a 70-year-old in Cardiff City and then ending at the Ogie Bridge Meadow Stadium, West County, US, in 2011. So, Christian, start us off. Take us back to your childhood. Growing up, was it always going to be football?
I can remember the one night, the Monday night, when I used to go to karate down at London High School. It's no longer there. And that was in the gym side of the school. And in the back, it was football being played. I really wasn't interested in karate, but it was something my dad sort of wanted me to go to with my older brother. And the one night I said, can I just go and play football? I can honestly, my life has been a roller coaster. I can remember the night. I remember going down and playing football for the first time, and I promise you, it was like something. It was like a candlelight. That was it. From that night, I think it was 7 years, and I ended up playing Kansas City 7 years later. So I went on like a 7-year, I would like to call fast track. Like, I was obsessed with football.
Yeah.
I used to sleep with my football boots. Like, genuinely, like, my dad would buy me a pair of football boots at the start of the season, and I would, after every game, I'd take the studs out, because sometimes studs buttons a thing. I'd take the studs out, I'd take the laces out, I'd clean the laces, I'd clean the studs, I'd clean everything, and I'd polish them, like, you call my elbow grease, I'd get them shining, and I literally slept with my football boots. So when football was born with me, it was football all the way. And like I say, it's given me some of like the most ridiculous highs, but also it's given me some of the sort of crazy lows with that as well. And, you know, the love of having to retire in 28 when, to be honest, even after 300 odd games, I should just be starting really.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like doubly bitter because obviously I lost my father the week earlier. At the time on the first day, and then my dad passed away on the 8th of October. So yeah, I said it to you downstairs, like, football is it's given me everything, even today.
Yeah.
It still gives me stuff, and you know, whether that be a fan that I meet in an airport or, you know, work that I do in solicitors, and it's given me that ticket to be able to have quite an interesting life, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's interesting we talk about some of the highs and lows of football, and obviously the highs are great, but the lows do stand out.
Yeah.
And it's great that you can sort of open up and talk about those lows as well, and that's what we're going to sort of tap into today. But before doing that, if we could just paint a picture of what football was like when you emerged in the late 90s, in the early 2000s.
Football was brutal.
Yeah.
You know, I played against one player at Wrexham, he broke his nose 3 times. Yeah. You know, but the mighty mulplexes, the balls, when you used to block them and then leave frames on your leg. You know, football was a business of, it was a gritty game.
Yeah.
You know, I watch the football of modern day now, and it's almost like I can't relate to it. If I'm brutally honest, you know, I know we're talking, but my kids play rugby, you know, so I love rugby at the moment. It's a lovely passion, but when it comes to football, the identity of my game I played, where, you know, you could lead a tackle on somebody, you know, you could go across somebody, and, you know, I was a centre forward, and the amount of times I used to get clattered through, and, elbows here and, I was in 9 stitches in my face. And I watch it today and I just think to myself, if you want my honest opinion, it's just like a robotic sport.
Yeah.
I can pretty much know what someone's going to do when they get the ball. The right back, begins it when they give it back to the second half, pummels it down. It's very much, you're taking the Wayne Rooney's out of the game. You're taking away the rawness of what football is. Football was always a working man sport.
Yeah.
I think at the moment everything is overtrained. I think you're taking the flair out of the game. You're not allowing people to express themselves in the right way, and everything's controlled and everything's sort of measured, everything's monitored, it's just becoming a business and a sport which I still genuinely struggle to adapt to even now.
Yeah, and it's interesting you talk about football largely being seen, as you said, brutal on the pitch and a working man's sport. Now, if we look at it as it's described on the field there, off the field, the football culture, working man's sport, a manly man's sport, what was it like to experience that where you were just seeing it, you were set back from the fans and seeing that culture, which you were still in it, if that makes sense, you were seeing that. So has the culture of football now, from a fan's perspective, on the pitch, and at the ground and looking at the football, has that changed from where it was to now?
Oh, definitely. I remember when I used to go watch Cardiff City, me and my brother my oldest brother used to Cardiff City fan. This before I played for them. And when we used to walk down and you walk past all the pubs and, the chanting and the this and that, the fathers taking their sons out and taking them to the game. And, for me now, there's such a separation between football and the supporters. It's almost becoming, it's like this superstar culture, which I really struggle with. And I really struggle. When I played football, I was always, first in line to go to the hospital to do hospital runs. If, at Christmas time, we always used to do a hospital run, or if there was a soccer coaching session, if there was, I prided myself on keeping that engagement, because it is basically, I can remember being at the soccer schools and having the first team player turn up and sign your ball and sign the card and stuff. And I just think at the moment there's such this separation and such this superstar image. Like, you're not allowed to talk to them. There's so many people in clubs now about work and player liaisons and this and that separate the players from fans. And I just don't see the connection that was in the 90s and early on when I was around in football. And I think I think it's damaging, personally. I really think it's damaging that, these footballers of today, whatever the wages are, it's not about wages, but the image that these players are put on, this pedestal that, this sort of crystal sort of hierarchy that these players are today, I think it's crazy.
Yeah. So would you say, essentially, you say the damaging point, because how do you think that affects the players of today's mental health? As if they're they're constantly in the image, they're at the forefront of image media, constantly in the scrutiny. Not say that back in the late 90s, 2000s, football obviously was a way of life. It still is a way of life for many fans. So that scrutiny is still really prevalent.
I think footballers of today, to answer your question, I think they are constantly on performance, and so their mind, I can't even imagine what it's like, because I played just as social media was breaking through. I got all long, I think, M&S and all these MSNs and all this. So I wasn't really around the crazy social media world, but I think it can be the stress. And I mean, when I mean stress, it's like, I think Stan Collingwood said about his mental health. So then he got attacked with bank on football and be stressed when they're earning £40,000 a week. Money is money.
Yes.
Money is money. It doesn't matter what money. If you've got a lot of money, you spend a lot of it. Let's be honest, right? You spend what you earn. But what I'm trying to say, when you're talking about the mental side of it, they're watched like 24/7. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, possibly, I know you could talk wages. I really probably would want to be a footballer right about now. I think, it's just human body-wise, it's just a lot of pressure, and then a lot of pressure that's forced upon as well. Don't get me wrong, they create some of their own pressure as well, but performances, they ridiculed on performances, what they wear, this, or if they have an opinion on this, it's just constant. It's like this constant revolving fire pit, which can't be healthy at all.
No, not at all. And obviously that creates challenges for them in their career, which are additional to their football challenges. But if we can hold into your career as well then, Christian, what were the main challenges in your career going through?
As a footballer. So I'm a recovering alcoholic. I played 10 years of my career drunk. I got sober in 2006. I played 2 years sober to retire due to injury and stuff. So for me, I think that's probably the biggest stumbling block that my career was, in injuries. I've had canvas operations. I'm going through more. I'm having more surgery even now, 15 years past playing, so it's injuries and alcohol were probably the stumbling blocks for me. It's quite crazy because I'd probably use one to get over the other, if that doesn't make sense. And I probably played as long as I did because I drank, and that's a painkiller. So I probably didn't feel my body of what probably could have been preventable. Like I don't know, it's all up in the air, but drinking and sort of injuries were the two major things that were my obstacles.
So as you touched on there, using alcohol to sort of cover your injuries. Obviously alcohol is a big issue with men, leading to mental health issues. In your second season of Swindon, I believe it was, in January 2006, you were admitted to the Sporting Chance Clinic. Tell us a bit about that, Christian, and sort of what was the flipping switch for you?
Okay, so I probably made contact with the treatment centre the year prior. And I just probably didn't. I say I wasn't old enough. I was only 26 when I started drinking, but I probably just wasn't ready. I hanged at rock bottom. I grew up. My mother was a drinker. My father drank. It's quite crazy. I had this conversation with my brother yesterday, really, about our parents drinking and how I look at them different. My mum just drank on with it every day. My father would sort of drink after work, and I looked at my dad's a little bit different to my mum's. But for me, I just drank as a youngster. Didn't really, but when I look back at it, I didn't drink normally ever. Even as a youngster, I drank to blackout. I drank on probably every emotion. I probably didn't have an honest relationship with alcohol growing up. And then it all came to head at 26, and in January, I went into treatment. But if I go back the year, I made contact with the treatment centre, and I called them a couple of times throughout the year. But I probably won that rock bottom. And then I remember going into treatment, and I didn't walk into treatment. Do you know what I mean? I crawled. Like literally, it was a matter of life or death, I believe, for me. I've been sober since. I haven't drank since 16th of January 2006, and the link between alcohol and what we call the men's melding world, and not crying or some emotion. It's for me, I look into it as probably the worst drug in the world, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's more something that's so readily available, isn't it? And like you say, we drink to any emotion, and I think that resonates not just in football, with a lot of men in any industries. We take law, for example. You have a great deal, and it's a great win. First thing is self-leadership. You know, even a tough day in the office, something's gone wrong, goes to put on
gas and red wine.
you know. So it's readily available, and it is there to hide a lot of what's going on. So I think that's a big issue, which essentially a lot of men don't want to resonate with and admit. So obviously, if we just touch on the sporting chance clinic, it's funded by Tony Adams.
Yes.
Tony Adams famously as well admitted he's alcoholic, and he took, very much like you, the courage to say, enough's enough, I'm sorting this out. So in that respect, you reached out. Tony Adams also being a footballer, did you resonate a lot with Tony in that? Did you hear his story and think,
yeah, no, I remember reading his book, Addicted. Well, I say reading, because skimming through it when I was in treatment, because his book was available. And it's amazing how many similarities that he had that connected with me. You know, even though he played at a much higher level, if he was a legend. Tony Adams, what he'd done in football was remarkable. But for me, it was, I remember when my father used to come over and see me, or I used to pop in to see my father, he'd be like, oh, you know, why are you drinking, or why are you going out? Or I used to say, if I want to drink, I'm drinking. It stems back to my upbringing. Alcohol being drank was a norm for me. So when I drank at 9 o'clock in the morning, I was by my mum's side of it, tape at 8 o'clock in the morning. So these became normal habits. Seeing alcohol around all day, every day was just a norm. You know, I remember playing Cardiff City as I looked up into the stand, and my mum was there. Even as a kid, I could see her in the crowd that she was just drunk. And do you know what I mean? So alcohol has always had this raw connection with me. It was always a raw, well, it is a raw topic. Do you know what I mean? And at 26, probably still a baby in life, really. I just knew it would take me if I didn't get it under control. I remember, I think it was in November of 2005. I may be wrong because dates and times and stuff. But George Best died, I think, in the November. And I remember seeing it in the paper. It was a little picture that used to have the word devastated. It was Cameron Best. He watched his father die to alcohol. I had 2 kids at the time. I fallen out. I was like, I just remember, even though I wasn't ready to stop drinking, I was just like, I can't let this take me. I can't let alcohol kill me. And then, I don't know how I got there, but I got into treatment in 2006. And I spent 28 days at Tony's place, and, you know, it's funded by the PFA. So what the PFA will pay your salary for the month for you to go into treatment. It's almost like it's like a 90-day therapy within 30 days. It's like, it's raw. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It touches and breaks you. Like 2 weeks, they just break you down, and then they start building you back up, somewhat trying to get into some norm of society. Do you know what I mean? I remember coming out, and I didn't have no clothes, because all my clothes, I didn't wear any of the clothes I had previously because of alcohol and my own issues with being connected to my drinking past and stuff. I remember going into shops and, you know, buying new clothes, and, you know, like, but then coffee became the issue, because I thought, well, if I go to Starbucks 3 times a day and drink 8 coffees, well, that's okay, because drinking coffee is a lot. Do you know what I mean? And then I have to rethink about my relationship, and to date, you know, I still have to manage my relationship or whatever I'm doing, whether that be work, whether that be chocolate, whether that be whatever. It's like I have to be aware of where I stand with it. I have a call every month with my doctor, because the medication is knocks out horses. Do you know what I mean? But I speak to my doctor, and as long as I'm happy that I'm in control of my medication, where I'm at today, I'm okay. You know, it's just it's a minefield. But going back to treatment, it was probably one of the only places that I felt, because there's 3 bedrooms in there. There was like 2 big double bedroom, and then there's this little box room, I promise you, this box room with a bed in. There's like how much carpet, and then and I said, I'm going in there because it just felt tight.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted that almost like the arm on your shoulder.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that luxury with the en-suites. And one of the other guys who famously, a famous footballer, I can't say, but he was like, I'm having the en-suite room. I'm like, it's treatment like a hotel. Well, I wanted to go through that bit. Hill, but I wanted to go through the rawness of what I was about to experience.
Yeah, and you say on that point about having this more and wanted that arm around you. What was the help available to you at that time?
Well, I was fortunate that the manager who was managing Swindon at the time, if you know, was just an amazing guy. You know, he supported me into treatment, and when I came out, and it was a different manager. But I think I was fortunate that at that point in time, I had the right person, the right people, the right direction, and just the exact. I truly believe my treatment was everything came together meant for that moment.
Yeah.
Meeting the certain person, speaking to the certain counsellor, having a relationship with the right therapist, and all these little things, all these little inches just come together that meant that I needed to be in treatment at that time.
Amazing. But there's huge courage going in 2006. So we move on from that time. There's some commentary I've got here from the Physician and Sports Medicine Journal in 2017. It's a bit outdated now. But essentially they say that footballers, like we were discussing at the start, are in that high risk category, especially men, for mental health issues. And to break us down further, in 2017 it was stated that 1 in 4 footballers report mental health difficulties, with a higher prevalence reported after retirement. So as you've said, you retired from a professional in 2008. Does this suggest that there's some sort of survival theme then following retirement with the footballers? I suppose it's more prevalent now that footballers are still cut up, that football, when they're from a young age, they're signed to probably, 8, 9, 10 upwards, some of the big clubs. That's all they know. Do you think the mental health impacts on those players when they go into retirement and they're left to fend for themselves? What do you think that impact is? It's literally a survival of the fittest when they're entering the real world.
Do you know, I read something when I came out of treatment. Paul Walsh, I don't know if you're aware who Paul Walsh was, he played for Man City, and he made a comment that it took him 7 years to adapt to normality of retirement from football. Now, I never played in the Premiership. I don't tend to say I'm the best in the world, but I played for so many years. That resonates. The 10, especially using my parents, I lost both parents since retiring. My 30s, I was a mess. I was a mess. I think I took a job in the prison at 30, I think it was 38. And I cast that, I counted that as my first grown-up job. Like, the early years of retiring from football, and just that whole lost identity is just, it was just horrendous.
Yeah.
I know so many footballers that have struggled with their mental health since retirement. It's frightening. Yeah. Whether that is because what football does with that peak of reaching that top endorphin, I don't know, or just that what you would say yourself and how you value yourself even. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're no longer a footballer, you haven't got the title of footballer, or you don't get what you used to get, the invites to this or the free trainers here, or whatever it is that triggers. It is an absolute minefield.
Yeah, kind of touching on that then, in terms of the help available to footballers, like what help did you get after that?
Don't get me wrong, the PFA have been, for me personally, an amazing, and it is, but also it's that reality that you have to transition.
Yeah.
Like, there can be all the help in the world for anything. But if you're not ready for it, or you don't identify it, then it doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? So there's doctors, there's counsellors, there's therapists, they're in society. But if you're not connected to actually, do you know what, I actually need help. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, I've been on various medication over the last 15 years I've been retired, and, you know, the things that I've gone through myself and what I've experienced on a negative and horrible, that I could probably get my arm, you put my arm on me, and because I have been to the pits and back. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yes. And only over the last 3, 4, 5 years have I seriously started to come back a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I spent my working life working and doing some of the most amazing things, but that doesn't mean that the head's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like right now, if you want me to be brutally honest, I'm going through probably one of my biggest challenges in my life. And you're talking like, I've been sobriety, I've been sober 18 years, which is a tough thing, but at the moment I've got such a problem with my leg. I've already had a knee replacement, I've already had nerve injections that are very rare. I'm about to go under the knife again, and, you know, not to put it too extreme, like I'm fighting to keep my leg in effectively. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm constantly aware. I find my own therapist. I set up in myself. I make sure that my medication is right. I make sure that I'm trying to talk. But at the same time, it's almost like a fight within a fight, because as a man, I can't talk for a female. Like, you know, I'm sure females have exactly the same sort of resonate thoughts, but it's almost like you can beat yourself up a little bit, because of this constant, you know, this constant battle about, you know, who I am or what I should be right now, or, you know, I struggle to take my daughter to the park. You know, it's heartbreaking. Yeah, just when I used to walk to the kid, walk my daughter through the park, and so it's a constant minefield. But on the flip side of that, if we want to flip, it's like there is positive things that you can do, and the most positive thing that I was told when I was in treatment is just talk. Yeah, just sharing that conversation. You know, you were downstairs when I was doing the piece earlier, and I'm a massive person who really promotes that communication in various ways, whatever that may be. You know, it might be you might have to text because you don't want to talk about it. But always have them contacts close to you. You know, always have that one or two people that you have allowed to slide into the most personal, interpersonal things that they're experiencing.
Yeah, and that's really interesting on bit about resilience. Like you said, you've been sober 18 years, you've gone through all those challenges. But I really appreciate you being brutally honest that, you know, still now you have those feelings of, you know, something's just not right, which I think, as we tie into it at the end regarding stigma of mental health with men, a lot of men just fail to admit that. And, you know, it's seen as a weakness. But I think once you're true to yourself and as you're happy to admit that, that's when those stages get better.
100%. And for me, therapy, for example, right? If we look at, I've already said how to word this, but if we look at society in Britain, like about counselling, therapy, talking, you know, it's a little bit of a taboo, not really, you know, I'm not saying anything, but just that, is it okay to, you look in America and certain countries, they're the most proudest people to talk about, and they talk about their therapists like they're Louis Vuitton handbag. Yeah, John, I'm going to therapy now, and everyone's therapy's great, and they're positive about it. You know, so I think it's a mind switch. It's a mind understanding. It's getting to understand that it's okay to have weaknesses. It's okay to talk. Yeah, it's okay that today I don't feel okay, and I'm going to share that with somebody. And that is the biggest transition of all. And since I was being in treatment, and I was encouraged to talk, Julie applies therapist, and I didn't take medication to get sober. I taught sobriety. I spent my sort of early years in AA meetings and listening and understanding it's okay to talk. It's okay not to be okay. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And yeah, if you're fortunate to be able to identify that, and I'm not saying that it's got to be a certain age, but if you do adapt and you find that, I think that's when the whole transition of what is stigmatized or what is looked upon on mental health will change within yourself.
Definitely, yeah. I think, and that needs down to it, isn't it? It's talking, being honest. And I think what, obviously, with a lot of the mental health charities for men out there as well, is saying that you might be fine yourselves, but it's reaching out to, your brothers, your friends, father, strangers that they see, colleagues in work. I've had personal experiences. Back in 2019, my friend took his own life. And you always got that thing in the back of your head where you think, if I'd messaged him a bit more, if I would have sent that message, would he have said something? But what the importance is, you can't sort of look back at that. And a lot of my friends, we speak about it quite often, again, because we're open, but because it's so raw still. And we look back and we can't blame ourselves for it, but we make a conscious effort now of doing it to each other.
Yeah.
And I think even though people are finding themselves, the importance is just, send a text, should we go for a coffee?
100%. And that is it. And it's building that environment where it's a comfortable environment for everyone. Not everyone wants to talk 24/7. It might be that just by a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or just so that I'm here, bro.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be after a tragic event as well. It doesn't, like yourself, I've lost a few friends over the last couple of years, and it seems to be then, as you get older, death is more upon you and stuff. And you can't help but think, what if? But you can't control the uncontrollables. You can control the controllables. So moving forward, if it means you've got to send a text, I haven't heard off someone for a couple of days, or someone just had a little bit of bad news, just to let you know, bro, I'm here for you if you need. I lost a friend about 2 years ago, and his father took him really, really, really bad, really bad. And I have been messaging his father since, over the last 2 years. I can show you on my phone. He never messages him back. But all I could is just thinking of you today, bro. I'm here.
Yeah.
And it might not be for whatever, but one day you might go, oh, I'll catch him. I don't expect any message back. I just let him know I'm here if you want. If you need, I'm here. If you don't, call on, just let me know I'm taking you.
Yeah, it's such a powerful tool, isn't it, that is readily available to us, which a lot of people sort of just pass by because it's so easy, I think, isn't it? So summing up then, Christian, International Men's Day is a great opportunity to highlight sort of these concerns and have these conversations. But much like the conversations and the talk we had downstairs earlier, this topic shouldn't just be saved for one day or for one period of time. This is something that should be spoken about regularly. It isn't something that should have a dedicated day. But it's good that we've got that to highlight that and to remind people to talk, isn't it? I'll just throw some figures out there now. Literally last week, the NHS provided some more figures for us on men's mental health in the lead up to International Men's Day. So we've got 36% of NHS referrals for psychological therapists are men. 52% of men would be concerned about taking time off work for mental illness. And 46% of men would feel embarrassed or ashamed to tell their employer about mental health issues. How do you feel about that? Because obviously you've had your time in 2006. Did you feel embarrassed at all when you knew that you needed to do this? Or was your support system so much?
No, mine was life or death. So I didn't have the option. I could get sober or I kill myself, That was blatant. That was out. Listening to them figures is like it's an alarm ringing in my head when it goes down to what I was speaking about downstairs. You're right. Okay, it's an amazing. We have this celebration for this day, but we have to find ways where it's more regularly talked upon and created more space, because them figures are crazy. You know, to think that, as you say, 42% of men would struggle to take time off for their mental health and stuff. That's worrying.
Yeah,
that is worrying, and it's crazy, right? Because it's probably the hardest and the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
and that's just to talk.
Yeah,
it's the hardest sometimes on occasions. It's the easiest on occasions. But you know what? It's like if it's a community, instead of these hours we spend on phones and social medias and flicking through, if we spend 10 minutes a day just reaching out to people that we've maybe not been involved in or seen or heard, or, you know, someone might have had a little bit of bad news, or it doesn't need to be a bad news. You just thinking you haven't seen your mate John for a couple of weeks. Do you know what, bang, how are you, dude? Or, you know what I mean? Just let you know I was thinking of you today and stuff. But this goes hand in hand with what I'm saying nowadays. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
It's like the more we do to talk about it, the easier it becomes. And until we create a society where that is the case, we're always going to have, unfortunately, figures like we've just said.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I was going to end on sort of what can we do to sort of get rid of that stigma and sort of just help each other. But I think we've hit the nail on the head. It's talking, isn't it?
Yeah, well, for me, it saved my life.
Yeah.
Just talking. No substance, no medication, no nothing. Talking saved my life. And, you know, some people say I talk too much now, which can be sort of agreed and disagreed in certain elements. But for me, you know, even today, I feel as if like my sobriety has got stronger because I've that share into my experiences, you know, and yet for me the combat to challenge all these percentages, these numbers, these figures is talking.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Christian, again for coming in and sharing the story. It's hugely influential, and it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Top man. Cheers. Thank you.